My name is Lizabeth Ulloa. I'm a junior at UCA. I've gone to public school my whole life. I've grown up with just my mom, and she's always worked really hard to give us just the basic things we needed. And one day we just went to the store, and I seen a friend that I hadn't seen in about 3 years, and she just started talking to me about UCA. She pretty much introduced me to UCA. She gave me the phone number. I called, and I found out how much the tuition was, and that was a big deal for us.
My name is Debbie Nelson, and I'm the Vice Principal of Finance at Upper Columbia Academy. And I first heard about Liz from a phone call that I got from Joe Hess, our recruiter. And he said, there's a young lady that really wants to be at UCA. Could you give her a call, because finances are going to be a huge issue. So I called Liz, and I got a little bit of background information from her. And as I remember it, I don't think Liz's mother speaks a lot of English, so I talked a lot with Liz. And it was interesting to hear the passion in Liz for even wanting to be at UCA with having no background of being a Seventh-day Adventist, or even a background of UCA other than what she heard from her friend.
Most kids from where I live can't really go to a school like I'm going to, so it's a big privilege. The school where I went to before, full of gangs, most teenage girls, by the time they're my age, they're pregnant or have kids already. I wasn't happy at all with my grades. They're really low. My reading average was like of a 5th grader, and I didn't understand math at all.
I talked with Liz on the phone, and I found out how much her mom could pay for her to be there at UCA, and there was a huge gap.
Money was a big problem. Mrs. Nelson always says money isn't a problem to God, and I absolutely believe that now. He got people to donate money so I could be there.
God answers prayer. Money's not a problem to God. And God has a plan for each one of these kids. And if his plan is UCA, or if it's PCA, if it's any one of our schools, God will provide. It's not my job, that's his job. So I prayed with Liz on the phone, and I said, we're going to write on your sheet that I'm working on that we need a miracle. And we get to look forward to see how God's going to answer that prayer. And I gave her the history of my job and working with God through this process. And so far, out of maybe 50 students that I have, we need a miracle, every single student, but maybe one of them went to UCA.
1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 25. And it says, God's weakness is stronger than the greatest of human strength. It lets me know that as much as I feel weak or strong, no one's weakness or strength is as much as God's. It means a lot, because at my weakest point, I know that it doesn't matter, because God is always going to be there to pick me up.
About 3 days before school started, after a process of a lot of prayer and work with our development director, with some donors that I work with, and with the conference office, who is completely committed to Adventist education, and they did some fundraising for every one of those students, including Liz, I was able to say we have a miracle. And that is the happiest part of my job, to call back to students like Liz and say, you better start packing.
Mrs. Nelson called me at 8 o'clock in the morning and said, you're accepted, we have enough money for you to be here. I remember hanging up the phone and yelling. I was like, yay, Mom, I got accepted. I wasn't a Seventh-day Adventist when I heard about UCA, and I was raised Catholic, still am Catholic, and on the 10th of December of this year I will be getting baptized.